Welcome back to West Texas View.
We were right in the middle of a question about how do you schedule telemedicine if you're out in Sanderson or Sierra Blanca or somewhere else, and you can't drive to Midland or Odessa to Dr. Jain's office. How do you schedule it? And you were saying that there's going to be satellite.
Eventually, we are not very close to it. Unfortunately, at this time in hour, you probably will have to come to Midland or Odessa to see patients. But eventually, in a year or two to come, we will branch out. We will strategically place those stations, most likely in a clinic or a hospital already there. We're going to place a computer or some kind of device throughout the West Texas. And depending on your geographical location, you probably will go to the nearest one and be seen by a psychiatrist sitting, say, either in Midland or even Seattle. It doesn't matter. It can be any part of the world. When we are connected electronics, you don't have to be physically there. At this point, the most realistic and closest to what we're trying to do is, because there are few psychiatrists willing to come to West Texas, we're going to be hiring and contracting psychiatrists sitting anywhere in the United States and be willing to connected to see patients either in Midland or Odessa. We're going to start with Midland initially, eventually we'll do in Odessa. This should happen by end of this year, so that more availability of psychiatrists will be there. You don't have to wait so long to see a psychiatrist. Right now the waiting time is between 2 or 3 months. We are hoping to reduce it to maybe a couple of weeks time by increasing the availability of psychiatrists in Midland.
And what this sounds like to me is we're bringing the medical community closer and closer together, because if I've got some rare disease and my doctor says I'm going to be consulting with, or I want you to talk with,
the potential is immense. The potential is immense. I mean, you go to one place, and suppose I have a skin problem, skin lesion, and my primary doctor says that, hey, this looks like something more. Maybe we should check it out by a specialist. Okay, so we schedule a time. Okay, all you have to do is you come to the same place. However, the specialist may not be in
that
West Texas,
office.
maybe in, say, New England, just connected to by telepsychiatry, and you bring the lesion to the either by picture or close to the camera.
And
the
all of the
specialist
lab tests will
and
be
everything is sent to him by fax, and he gives you an opinion, so you don't have to go to New England to get a consult. That is the power of telepsychiatry that we were trying to do. Eventually, once it's up and running, I think it will be extremely efficient, extremely helpful for our patients, particularly West Texas, which is huge. Geographically, it's very wide.
Our television station reaches almost a fifth of Texas, but yet the population out here doesn't equal anything near like the fifth of Texas in some other parts of the population.
That's true.
So we have to figure out ways that we can get people moved around, and they can't always jump in their pickups. And
right. And right now I have patients, I was telling you before, some patients drive 2-3 hours one way from New Mexico or interior parts of South Texas to come to see me. That should not be the case, because that is an hindrance. Maximum maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes maximum one way should be there, and not more than that. And that will be our goal, to get it psychiatrists more available, easily accessible, quickly accessible, and able to address most of the concerns within a relatively short period of time.
Well, another question I had, and this was an interesting one, and a man also asked this. He said, if there was one thing you wish every person in the world knew about mental health, what would it be?
That nobody is immune or safe from having emotional problems, no matter how strong.
I figured we were going to stop you on that one.
No, it's not. I mean, it doesn't matter how intelligent you are. It doesn't matter how rich you are. It doesn't matter how physically strong you are. It doesn't matter what kind of stable diet you have, because emotional illness and your functioning is such a state of dynamic state. It changes so frequently. It responds so quickly to your environment. It responds quickly to the surroundings, and the fact that our body is aging every second. How can our brains be stable? So the fact that this will and continues to change makes anybody susceptible to emotional health, emotional concerns, and to be able, it's like a finely tuned machine. Humans cannot, even the best human-made machine needs some form of tuning. Even the space-age rockets, they need some form of maintenance. How can a human body and mind particularly not?
Which is one reason we always preach to our children, who you're with all the time is going to make a difference in how you act.
Exactly.
And so
choices
surround
you make,
yourself with
choices
happy,
you make,
positive.
surroundings you keep around, the activities you do, genetics, of course, intake of your food, energy, your recreational, your attitude towards life, they all contribute to your emotional health.
But you said, all right, the most important thing that everybody in the world should know about mental health is that we're all
susceptible
to it. So then the second phase of that is that if we're all susceptible to it, then there shouldn't be any stigma to it.
Absolutely.
If we've got some problem, we should.
And that is the problem with mental illness, the fact that anybody is susceptible to it. And I don't see in any family in the whole wide world who doesn't have anybody connected by blood or the other, who doesn't have emotional problem, and still we try to shun away from getting help.
Yeah, we're not embarrassed to say, I've got to go have this rash tended to at the doctor, but we do say, I've got chronic depression, and I mean, we're afraid to say that.
We are very afraid to say that, partly because we don't know what kind of stigma is attached to. Though depression is so common, every family, anybody can develop that.
And so why is it a surprise to us that our family members won't talk to each other about, I've got this problem, or I'm secretly cutting myself?
It's very interesting that I've seen women, even men, talk about very intimate details of their life, be it the sexual activity or whatever they want to do, but they don't want to talk. The more macho they are, the less they talk about emotional health, and they're more comfortable talking about their sexual escapades, for example.
That's right. Then things that are going to help them stay sexually active.
Yeah. Hey, I did this, I took that.
We've got to take a break. We'll see you in just a minute. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us for News West 9's West Texas View with Johnny Lou Avery. This has been a public affairs presentation of KWAB-TV and KWES-TV.